ជំរាបសួរទូរទស្សនិកជនជាទីមេត្រីបាទសូមស្វាគមន៍មកកាន់កម្មវិធីជួបជាមួយនឹង Tony នៅលើកញ្ចក់ទូរទស្សន៍ខ្មែរ TV បាទថ្ងៃនេះខ្ញុំនឹងនិយាយជាភាសាអង់គ្លេស because ព្រោះអីយើងមានវាគ្មិនយើងដែលគាត់ក្មេងជំនាន់ក្រោយម្ល៉េះហើយគាត់មិនសូវចេះខ្មែរប្រហែលដល់ចឹងទៅយើងត្រូវតែនិយាយភាសាអង់គ្លេស Today we have the honor to meet with young successful Cambodian female. She's been uh, leading and lifting the students since she was in the elementary school. The engagement with the students throughout the year inspired her to get the bachelor degree in communication and entertainment, study from Cal State Fullerton. With her passion of helping others, she spent 10 years working in a non-profit organization. Driven by desire to create impact and inspire others, she helped many people live their best lives through curls, confidence, and career. She's best known for her teen book article on struggles of understanding her identity as an Asian woman living with curly hair. Her journey and perspective has received international attention that can be found in and Jade, Braid and Jade, Naturally Curl, and other media outlets. She's also created hashtag API curls to document and encourage individuals to share the unique experience of living with curly hair. She's also enjoyed writing haikus and share them in a series title called You in Haikus. She's the entrepreneur, creator, and influencer. Let's welcome Rosie Chuong. ជំរាបសួរ Rosie សុខសប្បាយ
ចាសុខសប្បាយតាជំរាបសួរពូ
well, I think we're gonna speak in English, right? Do you want to speak Khmer or English or both, or how do you want to do it?
No, let's do English.
Okay. You born here in the United States, right?
Yes, I was born in Chattanooga, Tennessee.
Okay, Tennessee. I think it's somewhere in the East Coast, right? Chattanooga.
Yeah, more in the south, near Georgia.
Oh, I see. Yeah. So you can you tell us a little bit about your elementary school that you have helped lead other student and lifting other student? Can you walk us through a little bit through your elementary school?
Yes, so ever since elementary school, I've always been involved in student leadership. I was involved in Associated Student Body, and I've just always liked to help others, specifically through student leadership. So I was always in civic engagement and volunteering with other people and collaborating with a lot of other students and organizations. Ever since I was in elementary school, I did that in middle school as well as in high school. And that has pretty much carried on through my time in college. In college, I did more involvement. I attended Cal State Fullerton, California State University Fullerton, and there I actually got involved with the Cambodian Student Association. And we've done quite a couple of things. We've done the Khmer Student Coalition Conference. And after that, I got involved in working in nonprofit organizations, which has led me up until now, where I do consultancy and other things where I help with other nonprofit organizations.
Sounds great. So when you were young, when you like elementary, what 6, 7, 8, 9 years old. So when you were young, are you kind of like have a feeling and say, that's what kind of like you born with, of like to help other people, or is it inspired by something else?
That's a really good question. I would say that's always something that I have always felt in my nature to do. I always want to help other people, but that's also how my family and my mother has raised me, and always like helping and serving other people and helping take care of the family. So that's just always something I've become accustomed to. But naturally, I do feel as if I'm always willing to accommodate to other people and help other people out and go out of my way to serve other people.
So sounds like your family, your parents kind of like embracing, helping other people. So you kind of like pass it on to you, and you just take that and embrace it, and then just run with it, right? Go forward with like to help other people.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. So how would you are you at like top of the class student or something like that in the junior high?
No, I was a good student, but it doesn't necessarily mean that I had straight A's or that I was in honors. I took advanced classes and I always knew that I wanted to go to college, which meant that I needed to make sure that my scores and my grades and my activities matched that of a qualified college student. But I've gotten a C before in class. I liked school and I liked studying, but it doesn't necessarily mean that I was, a valedictorian or anything like that. I was a good student.
Well, I met a lot of successful people, but they're not like top of the class. Also, like many, because it's not about just what you study. Because what you after you study, when you come out, you actually what you do, and what you can take and what you can embrace what's around you. You can learn from others. That's what make you that's what make you successful in. Because if you just think that, okay, I'm top of the class, and you come out and then you say, okay, I'm not going to learn from someone else, then you're stuck. Right? You what they call it, you a full cup of water. That's what it is. Yeah. So when you finish, when did you start your career, your own company?
Yeah, I started my career. So I graduated college in 2011. And from 2011, I worked at a nonprofit. So I worked in house, I worked in marketing. And from there, I moved to a nonprofit consulting firm. And I moved also in title as well. And then after that, I was trying to figure out, what do I want to do? What is then my next big step? Do I want to work for somebody else for my next job, or do I want to try and work for myself and own my own business? And that's something that my parents were asking me to do. They were asking me if I was going to become a business owner. They were thinking along the lines of owning a donut shop, but I wanted to do something that was more aligned with my career, my skills, which is in branding and communications and marketing. So after that consulting firm, I decided that I was going to move back home and I was going to be self employed and do freelancing. And from then, and it's been about 3 years since I've done that, I've definitely flourished in this. And I don't see myself doing anything other than being my own business owner.
Yep. Once you get hooked into own your own business, you don't want to go work for anyone else. You have the freedom, right?
Yeah, true.
Yeah. I think when Khmer TV started, uh we did went out to um Fullerton Cultural Night. Yeah, I think we did went out to film Cultural Night, but I guess you graduated before we went there. I think we went there in 2015, 2016. I don't remember. I think maybe 2015. Yeah, so you graduated in 2011. So
Yeah.
you helping nonprofit um, consulting. What did you actually do consulting with a nonprofit?
Yes, so I do consulting for nonprofits and small businesses, and specifically, my niche are organizations that uh, they mainly health based or disease related causes. So that could be the National Multiple Sclerosis Society. I've worked with the American Red Cross. As well as an organization called Pacific Clinics, which and they focus on behavioral, mental health, and behavioral health. So for them, what I do is I work on the branding and the communications and the marketing for them. So that could include social media, writing, content creation, graphic design. As well as analytics in terms of like social media and Google. Those are some of the things that I do for my clients.
Oh, I see. So basically, you just do those kind of thing and then bill them by the hour.
Yes, usually, depending on the contract, it's either hourly or I have a retainer fee, and based on that scope of work for the contract, we'll work accordingly based on that particular contract.
Oh, I see. And also that's also including in the small business also, right? Not just particularly on non-profit. Basically, any kind of business, if they need your help. For example, let's say if my business needs your help, we can go to you and say, hey, you know what, Rosie, I have this amount of money. I need your help doing this, doing that, and then you come up with a plan, right? Is that how that works?
Yes, exactly. And my niche and my clients are typically small businesses. I like to work with clients who are where they have a mission that focuses on really helping others. And that's really important for me that my clients have a love and a passion for serving others. So that's just a very specific niche of businesses and organizations that I work with.
Oh, I see. Okay, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to continue on with you helping others, okay? So, ពី
Okay.
កម្មវិធីសូមសម្រាប់មួយផ្លែតសិនបាទ Okay, welcome back. We just talked with Rosie Chuong. She's the owner, creator, and influencer for the younger generation. Rosie, do you so you don't you only help with a company who help others? So basically, for example, let's say if the company that not in your criteria, you're not you kind of like say you don't want to work with them at all, or is that only a specific company that you're working with?
I I do believe that it's important to have a set of criteria or a set of standards in terms of what you believe your ideal client is, and overall, I do believe that's good business practice. Not everybody has the privilege to be able to say like, oh, I'm going to say yes to this client or no to this client. When I was starting out in my first year, I said yes to everybody. I said yes to everybody and everything and every pay grade. But as I started building my reputation as somebody who is self-employed and as a consultant, I've been able to take on projects that are really meaningful to me and uh, projects that equate to my particular pay grade. I have the ability to be able to say yes and no depending on the circumstances and if I have the capacity to take them. But you definitely, as a business owner, I would definitely recommend that people assess who they're going to work with, and make a decision based on whether you think this is going to be a good relationship, on a professional standpoint. So it is important for me that I think about that criteria before accepting a contract.
I guess because your passion is to help others, so you want to do something that also help yourself too, right? Because if you help someone else that is not helping yourself, then it's going to be difficult for you to write something or do something without, oh, I like to help them, but it's kind of like not really help. So you also found they call API curl. What is API curl?
So API curls, API stands for Asian and Pacific Islander. And so API curls is basically what we like to say an online platform and an offline movement. We are a multicultural movement that is empowering other people who identify as API to embrace their natural hair patterns and textures. So basically, curly hair, like me.
So basically, most of so your platform is for all type of Asian Pacific Islander to come in and embrace what they have. So because sometimes people uh, feel that they don't like they're living in a different body. Sometimes people, so I don't really like my hair. I so what you are coming in is you said okay, this is what you are and you should embrace what you have. Is that what it is? API all about?
Yes, exactly. So it's really about being able to live beyond the pressures of having straight hair. So there's a huge misconception that people who identify as API only have straight, but the reality is that we multiple hair patterns and hair textures. The part of the reason why you don't really see that in daily life or even on the media is because there is this particular beauty standard of having just straight hair. And if you're only exposed to Asian people who have straight hair, then you're only going to think that that's the only way that they look like. But so API Curls in our platform is really a place, a safe space for people to come and feel as if they can be validated and talk about their experiences of, living with their hair or maybe coming into understanding and embracing their hair textures.
So how big is the API curl, or how many people worldwide are joining on your platform?
That's a really great question. I don't have a number for you, but I can definitely tell you that it's growing day by day. So when we to give you an example, when I first started my curly hair journey, when I first started saying, hey, I want to talk about my curly hair on my YouTube, I felt like I was the only person who was going to be able to talk about that because I didn't have anybody to talk to about curly hair that looked like me. And then when I put that video out 3 years ago, I started getting messages and comments from people saying, I've never seen somebody that looked like me with my hair, and this is it. This is the moment. So over time, it's just been a really slow build. When we started going to social media and posting on the API Curls platform, we started small. I think it was only about like 30 to 50 people, and um, that was in April, I believe. And since then, we've grown from that 30 to we're close to hitting 1,000 followers. And that's just from a few months. I know and I believe, I am so confident that there are so many more people who can join our cause that I haven't been able to find. So it definitely is a global movement. I've had a lot of followers who come from different parts of Asia, different parts of the world. So it's definitely a global touch point that we have.
That is really good because you only have 4 months, right? I guess, right? April, May,
Yeah.
June, July, August. So in 4 months, you like kind of like gain to 1,000. That's really quick. So must be a lot of curly hair Asian Pacific Islanders out there, and I think it's a good thing also that you kind of like help embrace. Say this is what you have. That's what who you are, and live with it. And um, because sometimes some people, when you don't feel like what you have, they go out and they make the changes, they shave, they do all different kind of things. Sometimes they do a lot of things that could harm to themselves too, right? Yeah. You do you have a what do you have, Twitter account and Instagram and all that stuff too, that we can share
Yeah.
on the
So
TV?
yeah, we are active on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, and
Facebook.
Pinterest as well. And we also have a website. It's at API Curls. They're all the same. And then the website is www.apicurls.com. Um, Definitely look at our Instagram. I think that's where most people can see Instagram or Facebook, where you can see a lot of the photos and the stories that people are sharing. Being able to see a photo of somebody who looks like you is the most powerful thing, and that's why I'm encouraging people to go onto our Facebook. Our website, we just recently launched it, so we will start sharing our stories on there, and that's going to be a really big thing. The website is going to be a really important and critical platform for everybody to visit, so they can have the resources available to embrace themselves and connect with other people. But for now, we've started on social media, and we're working our way towards building the website to what it really needs to be.
So how so you have you got to this point where you have you reach your success so far. Are you planning on kind of like getting bigger into different part of the world, embracing more people around the world in different countries on API curls, or basically kind of like locally here? That your goal is
Yes,
bigger?
absolutely. Yes, the goal is to get bigger. Every time I talk about API curls, it feels like the idea, the concept, and the entity itself becomes bigger. So when I started, so API curls was just a hashtag last June or July. And then from there, I decided 6 months after July, I decided, it should become its own thing. It should become its own entity. And the reason why I decided it needs to be that is because I kept hearing other people say, like, there are all these other curly hair platforms, but I don't feel as confident to share my story on there, or that I can really trust this resource or feel as if I am part of that community, because there aren't people on there that look like me. So API Curls is here to really fill that void and contribute to the overall curly community. Right now, it feels like everything is localized. However, I definitely see curls growing to something that's more of a global touch point, and I would love to get more involved with what that would look like for other countries. And I know for a fact that like places like South Asia and the Philippines and in Indonesia, the curly movement is actually big over there. So I'd be able to connect with people over there to see how we can collaborate together to really grow this community.
Sounds great. I never know the word haikus, right? Haikus, is that how do I pronounce it correctly?
Haikus?
Haikus? Yeah,
Yes.
it's like a little short Japanese kind of like proverb or whatever. What start with a five letters, a five word,
Yes.
and then seven word, and then a five words. I look up because I never know that before. I really like it. After I look up and I talked to John, and John told me that his son, I think his son, what is 11 or 12 years old, he wrote haikus. Is that how you say it, haikus?
Haikus.
Haikus. Okay, haikus.
Yes.
So I still keep saying wrong for many times. Yeah, so his son is only, I believe, like 11, 12 years old, and he wrote haikus, which is amazing. So how do you get the idea of writing that? Because that's little short message could actually empower a lot of younger generation or other people. So how did you get the idea of writing that?
You know what? I really love to write. I believe that writing is my probably my best suit. And so I wanted a way to express myself creatively. So I started this haiku series called You and Haiku. I have a couple of different volumes of haikus that I've released. I haven't written anything since June, but the haikus are inspired by my conversations with people and the way in which I reflect on those conversations that I have with people. And that's really where I get my inspiration for my haikus.
Okay, good. We're gonna take a quick break again, and then when we come back, I'm gonna need some sample that whatever you wrote before. Okay, we're gonna share with
Okay.
the audience. Okay, we're gonna take another quick break. Okay, welcome back. Okay, Rosie, is there any way you can share with us some of those best haikus that you have there?
I do. I'm going to pull it up on my phone. I have an account for it and I use hashtag, which is hashtag you and haiku. If you look it up, so I'm going to read one a lot of people loved, which is she fell for him the same way rain fell on concrete, bound to happen hard. And here's another one. Keys to a happy life: to know how to love, to listen, and to laugh. And I'll read you one more.
Okay.
The fatality of my freedom: to appear as what I am not.
So the meaning of, because it's a short word, it's a short phrase. Would you call it a word or a phrase? But it has a lot of meaning. It has like a big meaning, just like a proverb or something, right? The fatality of the freedoms, and then the fatality of the freedom, and then what was the last thing? I remember the first part.
To appear as what I am not.
Use PS what I'm not. Yeah. So it's so when you writing that, did you kind of like sitting down and remember and start writing it, or you had to sit down and say, I'm going to start writing haiku, and it's all day long you do haiku, or how does that work?
Usually, my haikus are written in piecemeal. So I will have a certain thought in my head. I'll write it down, and then later down the road, I'll decide. Okay, like I know that this can become a haiku. I just need to figure out how do I want to rewrite it and rephrase it so that it fits within the confinements of a haiku. But also, when I use the word confinement, I really just mean in the structure of a haiku. But I do believe, as what you've just said, that so few words that you're using in the haiku, there's so there's a sense of profoundness that can be found within this very simple way of writing. So usually it happens at night when I'm laying in bed and I'm thinking to myself, and then I start like writing it.
Yeah, I guess writing usually happen when it's kind of like quiet, when you think about something. That's because I write poems. I guess you see one of my poem there. I write poem, and then I say, okay, you know what, I'm going to write this one because I think ahead of time. I'm going to do this,
Yeah.
and then I'm going to start a little bit, and then I leave it because you go do something else, and then you come back, you continue on, and you come back, you keep continuing. As long as you begin something, right?
Yes.
Yeah, because the thought, when you get the thought, and then you can prepare to write. Because that thing, that's kind of a little bit difficult. You have to get what, 5 words in the beginning, and then 7 in the middle, and then 5 at the last part. So
Yeah.
your big idea condensed into uh
Yeah.
575, right?
Yes.
And this is not that you learn from anybody or school or anything, right? You just start doing it.
Yes, so when I was younger, I had a in one of my classes, and I want to say it was either third or second grade, but my elementary school teacher, had us create a book of poems, and we learned different styles of writing poetry, and haikus were one of them. I just really loved to write haikus. I love writing songs, and so when I thought about, how do I want to express my creativity again, I found that haikus really matched. The style of my particular personality, and being able to say a lot by saying so little, and that is what draws me to writing haikus. And the fact that, like, you and haiku is um, it's a play on words with the fact that the YOU is also the letter U in haiku. So it's being able to describe a person or that relationship or that conversation with a person within the context of a haiku.
So where can I find you in haiku? Is it on Twitter, or where can I find that?
That's a good question. So I have it on my personal platform, and as well as on my personal blog, which is at Rosie Chuong. So, and then you can also look it up as a hashtag, hashtag you and haiku, or even if you Google it, it should be able to come up, and then you'll see my website with all the haikus on there. A lot of people have asked me if whether I'm going to sell it as art, or sell it as like a little book or something. I would love to do that sometime in the future. So when that happens, I'll let you know.
How many have you have so far right now? How many have you wrote
That's
so
a good
far?
question. I want to say it's about 100 that I've written so far.
Wow, that's a lot. Because short, yeah, because it's uh, like you said earlier. You instead of saying a lot, you say a little mean a lot. So by writing a
Mhm.
little bit, but meaning a lot in a big way, and not just that,
Yeah.
because some of those words sometimes it could inspire a younger generation to do whatever they want to do, but they lack of inspiration. So I think that's really good, that haiku. What else that you do, that you create, other than your work and your curly? Is there
That's
anything
a
else?
That's a really good question. No, that's pretty much all that I do. I'm really my life work is really important to me. So what I do for my consulting firm and my consultancy, as well as with API curls, with my haikus and my personal platform, those things I'm really passionate about, and they do require work, and it is work involved. But I love what I do every minute of the day. So honestly, it doesn't feel like work all the time. But in terms of like my personal platform, I blog, I write, I shoot videos. I love to do videos. So yeah, that's pretty much what I do most of the time. And outside of that, I do have hobbies like I love to go traveling, and I love doing hikes and cooking as well.
Do you sing? You said that you wrote a song. Do you sing, or is that someone else sing your song yet?
Um, I love to sing. I am not going to sing in this interview, but I do love to sing. I was trained to sing as well.
But you sing English, right?
I do. I sing English. I wish I could sing in Khmer. I know a little bit, but not really.
But you write your own song? Is
Yeah.
that right?
So when I was in mostly in middle school and high school and some of college, I used to write songs, but those were mostly hobbies. They've never really seen the light of day. I don't know if I will ever share that with anybody because I don't know what I was thinking when I wrote them. But I do love to write songs, and that's very interesting to me how people can write a song that becomes an actual. That becomes an actual product that musicians use to release with their music. I'm very intrigued by that particular art form.
Sometimes hobby can turn into career, can turn into millionaire. It could be because it's a hobby, which is something that you like. And when you do something you like, or when you do something you love, you do it better. Because if you do something you don't like, then it's sometimes it doesn't really work out. So when you do something that you like, which is what you're doing right now, you like helping other people, so you like to help people. That's why you're in the consulting business, and that's what makes you successful, right?
Yes, exactly. I'm
So
very lucky that I'm in a position to do all of this.
so you might one day probably sharing your old song with other people. I'm pretty sure, right?
We'll see.
Because you never know. Maybe one of the pop singers say, "Hey, I like your song. Okay, I would like to sing it." Then you never know, right? It could
That's
hit the
true.
roof.
So true.
Yeah. So I think we're gonna take another quick break, and then when we come back, we're gonna ask you to see what you can uh, give to the younger generation of the Cambodian, or basically anybody that listen to our conversation, to how they can be successful like you. Yeah. Okay. So we're gonna take
Okay.
another quick break. Okay. Welcome back. Um, so your journey is a long way from, basically, you have a passion of helping people when you were since you were young, and you turn that passion into your basically career until today. So can you, let's say, walk us through So that way the younger generation maybe listen right now that say, you know what, she can do this, so I should be able to do that too. So tell us from your time, from the younger generation until today, what obstacle have you overcome and how difficult it is or how easy it is, all the way from there till what you are now.
When I was younger, so I started working when I was about seven. My mom, and I know that my generation has, and the younger generation shares this very similar experience. So ever since I was young, I started working with my family or for my family. My mom, in particular, she was a seamstress, but was paid under the table as a garment worker or a seamstress. And so the only way that we could really make money was to do that. And the only way that she was able to produce the amount of garments that she was able to produce is through the help of my sister and I. So at a very young age, I've learned the art of hustling, but also just the value of working hard. In the sense that like you really have to earn what it is that you want in life. And as a child, what I wanted in life was to provide for my family. So being able to learn that, I thought, was really important. And I do believe that for the younger generation, it's important to learn what it how to define what work means for you, and also define what your success is. Because if you don't have that definition for yourself, then what ends up happening is you'll end up doing things for other people and not living or showing up for yourself. So, and I think that's very important for children of immigrants, or especially for the younger generation, where we're always taught to serve others. And I do it because I do believe that that is my calling. However, it is important that we're taking the moment to define that for ourselves, and just making sure that we're doing things that are aligned with what it is that we truly want to do. And if we don't do that, then what ends up happening is that leads to stress and to burnout, and to being unhappy. So my biggest piece of advice is to make sure that you're thinking about what you're doing and what you want to accomplish, and making sure that that is something that you want for yourself, and not because it's something that other people want for you. And as I've grown into my career, I think it's really important to remember that you don't get what you don't ask for. And I know it's sometimes hard to ask for things, but it's something that we always have to work on. Just working on standing up for ourselves and asking for what we deserve and what we believe is equitable to what our worth is. So just making sure that you're asking for those things, because if you don't ask for those things, no one's going to show up and give it to you. And then my third piece of advice that I give to somebody is to don't give everyone access to the VIP room. Your time and your skills and your insight, your knowledge and your experience is valuable. But you've worked very hard to earn all of that, and not everybody should have access to that. So just making sure that whoever's in your VIP room, who's in your tribe, in your support system, whoever's asking you for your time and your advice, is somebody who is deserving and earning that right to get that from you.
That's very great advice. I have one question though. Since you're talking about the VIP room, for example, let's say you have you have friends, right? You have close friends, and they're asking your advice. How would you charge them, or how would you go out and say, I kind of like charge people this much per hour? I mean, that's kind of really difficult. Uh, do you ever come across with something like that?
That's a really good question. So, something that I've been practicing lately is if somebody is asking for my time, I am making sure that they are that there are time boundaries to that. So I am using a scheduling system through an app called Calendly, and there are other scheduling apps that are very similar to it. But the point being is that when I'm sending this to another person, they understand that I'm only available to meet at certain times. They need to make the effort to book that time to meet with me. They need to make sure that they communicate what it is that they want to speak with me about. That's really important. And even if it's for friends, it just helps getting an understanding of what do you want to get out of this conversation? What do you want to get out of this time together? So that we can really make the most out of this conversation. If someone is asking me for my services in particular, like they want me to actually do something, then if there is an event where I felt like it wasn't necessarily um, a good use of my time, or if it really needed to be compensated, then I would have that conversation with them. I think it's important to establish that your time and your skills are valuable, and as a friend, that is something that they should respect, and that's something that you would respect of them if that were the case. And you can always barter with your friends. Maybe it's your friend making dinner for you or something like that. Something as simple as that helps a good long way. I will take free food anytime.
Free food for free writing service school, right? I think that's not expensive at all because a free meal
Exactly.
is only what 10-20 bucks, right? But your time will probably worth you a lot more. I'm pretty sure your friend would be lucky to have you to do some work for
Yeah,
you and then for a cook for a meal. No, I think that sometimes it's a very difficult situation when you have I think my job is also consulting and doing service work for customer. Sometimes when you have friend come, so I don't have much choice. I just have to do it for free. I can't ask for money because friend. So you can give them advice. You can do actually not just friend. I mean a lot of my customer they get a lot of free service from me too because I can't. Sometimes it's too small to ask for to charge for money, where American consulting company where I used to work for, which is a long, long time ago before I started myself, I only on the phone with a customer helping them uh, with an Excel program for, I would say probably like 30 seconds to 1 minute. Just tell them to hit uh, a few keystroke and then move the arrow, and that's all I did. And they charge $125, and that was like
yeah,
20 over 20 years ago. And I say, oh my God, they can charge that, and I cannot do it myself. No way I can do that. I have to do it for free, regardless of customer or friend. It just too short to kind of like charge, and that's where the problem comes when you have your own business. If you don't do that, then you lose all your time. You don't make you don't generate any income for your time because you as a consultant your time is just like a lawyer, right? Because that's where the lawyer can bill people because every time they talk, every time they speak, every time they write, whatever they do, they write down even to 5, 10, 15 minutes. They put it down so that way at the end of the day they compile them up. They bill the client, and if you don't do that, at the end of the month you wouldn't make any money, right?
exactly,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah. I think we almost come up to the end of our interview now. Is there anything else that you want to add to the younger generation, or you want to add to what your plan in the future is?
What I will say and what I will add is specifically for API curls, we are looking for stories. We are going to unveil our next content series, which is really about highlighting people in the community. So if you know someone who has naturally curly, wavy, coily hair, or do you suspect that somebody has it, or if you have it, we would love to interview you and spotlight you. Like I said earlier in our segment, it is so powerful to see a photo of somebody who looks like you. And if you feel comfortable and feel compelled and willing to share at least a photo with us, and a name or something, and give that to us so that we can share it with our platform, that is going to change somebody's life. And that's what we're about. We're about changing lives and we're about creating impact. So if anybody's watching this who is comfortable and compelled to share their story with us, I would love to connect with you.
Okay, that's great. Hopefully, you can connect a lot more people. I guess the only way to connect other people is just to uh, uh, go out there and put it on social medias and like interview like this and everywhere else. And word of mouth plus social media, we can expand. You can expand your platform, and as well as we can expand our platform at the same time. We can go together. Thank you very much, Rosie, for joining us today. I appreciate your time coming to us, and I don't think you're going to bill us today, right? I'm just,
No.
I'm just kidding. Yeah. Uh, yeah. So អរគុណដល់ទូរទស្សន៍ជនអស់ដែលបានតាមដានទស្សនា Khmer TV តាំងពីដើមរហូតមកបាទសូមជូនពរឲ្យទូរទស្សន៍ជនអស់ជួបប្រទះតែសេចក្តីសុខប្រកបមុខរបររកស៊ីមានបានហើយមានសុខភាពល្អបរិបូរណ៍គ្រប់គ្រងគ្រួសារបាទពីយើងខ្ញុំទាំងពីរនាក់សូមអរគុណនិងសូមជម្រាបលាបាទ